Good afternoon, United Capital Management. We're in the process of purchasing a CPA firm in the great state of Texas. And I've got the Commissioner of Agriculture, Sid Miller, as my guest this afternoon. So, Sid, welcome and thank you for being on the podcast.
Good to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
Sid and I figured out the other day we've known each other over 20 years and met through our calf roping friends. Met a lot of great people. Bringing my kids up in that community, I'd say at one point, if I died, I think every one of my pallbearers would have been calf ropers. But if I live long enough, it'll be grandsons. Great to have you here today, Sid. So let's just start off with several things we can talk about. And what I want to start out with is, what's your future? You've served as the Commissioner of Ag for 12 years. And prior to that, how many years were you a state representative?
24. 12 as a lawmaker and 12 as commissioner.
Gotcha. And so 24 years in politics. We tried to do this podcast the other day, but had such a poor reception because you were on the road on behalf of the great state of Texas. When I first met you, you were the guy that just owned that wholesale nursery down the road. When I come to know you, found out way more. You've accomplished a lot in your life and done a lot of great service. And the owner of Big As I Am, is that correct? Or is that mostly your brother's horse, or was that your horse?
That's my bloodline, but my brother actually owned the foundation sire Big As I Am.
Gotcha. And I will plug that to every one of our Big As I Am horses that we've kept or sold. We've been very happy with. They mature at such a young age. I think I can say this. I don't think I've ever been bucked off of a Big As I Am. I'm not sure I've ever had a Big As I Am 2-year-old buck on me. I don't think
they're just really good-minded, easygoing. You can almost just get on them the first ride and ride them off.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And in fact, one of our horses, I believe it to be the best horse we've ever owned, and we've sold some decent horses. We've sold some what I thought were high-dollar horses, and this horse is better than them all. And she's a 6-year-old mare with barrel horse speed that we hit on out of my stallion Big Sort that's out of Big As I Am. And I can't even, you probably remember the mare side better than I do. I got to have the papers in front of me. So how are you? Let's stay on the horse subject for a minute before we get into business. But how's things going in this road? What's the name of the stallion you're promoting now?
His name is Big Smoking Spark. He's an own son of Pearl, Big Smoking Wonder, that, we won everything on. Multiple world championships, 2 times PRC Horse of the Year. She's in the Rodeo Hall of Fame. She's kind of the horse everybody compares the rest of them to.
How many offspring did you get out of her?
She had 4. I own 2 of them.
Who owns the other 2?
A guy in Tennessee owns one, a full brother to my stallion, but he's gilded. And then another guy in Alabama has a red roan Pop-Tart cross stallion.
Are they in the hands of calf ropers?
They were. They're not anymore. Yeah, they're not roping calves on them anymore.
One of my boys prefers to team rope. I think the other one would still suggest that calf roping, but we
Trey Yates is healing on the gelding. This is a full brother to my stallion.
Gotcha.
J.D. Yates' son, Trey Yates. Yeah, he's on PRC.
I know him well. I know both of them well. And I think Trey's sitting maybe 8th right now. I looked the other day, but last couple years he's had a little rough time making it in the top 15, but he's doing really, really well now. So tell us what your next chapter is. I guess we'll first start off. Tell us about the book that you're writing.
Well, it's just a fun book. It's a bunch of short stories, basically. It's called Truly Significant Texans. It'll be about 35, 40 tops, stories about people that have had a great influence over the state of Texas. Chapters will be 3 to 5 pages, not very long, but I just thought it was something that needed to be written. We'll have people in there like LBJ, Red Stegall, Ross Perot, Sr., people like that have made their mark on Texas.
Gotcha. Yeah. Sounds interesting. And a new TV show?
New TV show. We'll partner with Bob and Kelly Phillips, who had the longest running TV show on the planet. They had one for 52 years called Country Reporter. It'll be patterned after that, but we're going to do all the southern states. Anything below the Mason-Dixon line, we're going to call it Down South. And the premise is basically we're going to just interview ordinary people that do extraordinary things.
Gotcha. So I'm ineligible for your show. I actually may end up becoming a citizen of this state for a multitude of reasons, but right now I'm still carrying a Kansas driver's license. So the do you think you're done with politics after this 24 years?
Probably not. I still got a lot of fight left in me. I'll be back in some capacity. I haven't decided just exactly what yet. I've been pulled several different directions, but I haven't committed to anything particular.
Let's start with your accomplishments as Secretary of Ag. I can sit here and name several of them, following you on social media and things, but I'll let you rattle some off.
Well, when I came on board, I started an international marketing program. We didn't have one. So we've really grown our exports. I have 47 export import opportunities this year, 47 trips, trade missions. About half of those are outbound, half are inbound. I'll still be going to China, Berlin, Australia, and New Zealand before the end of the year, trying to open markets for our Texas ranchers and producers. So we've done that. It's been very, very successful. I had an office in Argentina for a number of years. We just recently closed that down. We were selling livestock genetics there. We pretty much got that job done. So a lot of the cattle, livestock in South of Central and South America are Texas genetics. They've done a really good job of doing that. I think one of the best thing I was make school lunches great again in Texas. I'm responsible for 5 million school meals every day. So when I came on board, it was terrible. Michelle Obama had gotten hold of the school lunch program, and instead of having healthy kids, we had healthy trash cans. They wouldn't eat. It was just crap. They wouldn't eat it. Tastes like cardboard. So we started a Farm Fresh program. We're very successful. We've, our schools bought over $300 million of local product, served fresh to our kids, never ultra processed, never flash frozen, no dyes or additives or preservatives, cooked from scratch, and the kids eat it. So we're pretty proud of that. We send gardening kits to those young kids, those grades, let them get a dirt under their fingernails and figure out where their food actually comes from. So we're proud of that. We're in charge of weights and measures. Our weights and measures program was pretty sad shape when I came on board. I found 7,000 businesses that were marketing on unregistered, unapproved scales in our state. We got those fixed right off the bat, and that train's running smooth now. Organic program was in terrible shape. It was taking 3 years for a farmer to get his farm certified organic. We do that now in 120 days, and that train's running on time. But long list of things that we've done. Pretty proud of I've surrounded myself with really good people, and it's working. It's really a fine old machine. We've done great strides in rural health. I operate the Office of Rural Health, so we're responsible for 191 counties, rural health care in those counties. It was pretty dismal shape. They're in good shape now. We're going to leave them in really good financial shape. So the list goes on and on, but it's getting kind of boring.
Yeah, I remember come out a little controversial when you required the calibration of those scales, is the way I put it. You put it a little more eloquent than I did. Did you find anything to almost be criminal in people being cheated on their weight?
Well, we did, and that was mainly that was on the scales, but it was rampant on gas pumps. We also regulate, fuel.
Oh, gotcha.
1 out of 5 were out of compliance. So you had a 1 in 5 chance of getting ripped off when you pulled up the fuel pump. So we got that fixed, instituted a program. I didn't have to do it, but I did it because I felt we needed it. Was a credit card skimmer program. We taught our inspectors how to open the pumps and check for credit card skimmers. We pretty much ran those out of Texas. You don't hear that happening a lot anymore. We really cracked down on that. And dirty fuel, we cracked down on dirty fuel. You won't find dirty fuel in Texas anymore, or credit card skimmers.
Gotcha. When you were talking about your foreign travels, I forgot to mention to you, I was in El Salvador the last 2 Januaries. El Salvador has, 10 years ago was one of the most dangerous countries in the world. I would argue today it might be the safest country in the world with what Bukele's done and turning them around financially and getting rid of their drug trade, just amazing. But I met some Texans that knew you that's trying to develop the beef in El Salvador. Yeah.
Good. Well, that's great. Small world, huh?
Yeah, very small world. Also in Nashville, I ran into a technology company that had a meeting or two with you.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a pretty small world, but Texas is very important. Well, very important to the United States, obviously. How's the saying go? U.S. needs Texas, but the Texas doesn't necessarily need the United States. Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm not prophesying anything here or suggesting or hinting at anything. This is just a fun question. And I don't care if your list is 3 or 10 items long, but if you were the governor of Texas today, if you got elected yesterday and today you're governor, what are the first several things you'd focus on?
Well, a lot of things, but two come right to mind is data centers. I'd put a moratorium on data centers for at least a year, 18 months. In Texas, our counties have no ordinance making authority. They don't have ability. You don't even have to comply with the building code if you build something in a county here in Texas. So I would do that. It's runaway here. It's maybe not so bad in Kansas, but we have over 500 data centers either built, under construction, or proposed to hook up to our grid. That would be an absolute must. I would go ahead and implement the SWAS system in the screwworm. That's screwworm adult suppression system, which is a fly bait that worked excellent in the 70s and 80s. Actually eradicated the screwworm with it. USDA is not using that scientifically proven tool. We'd immediately eradicate the screwworm from Texas and Mexico. So those would be the first two things that I would jump on.
I didn't have time to follow it. In hindsight, was that screwworm issue been handled the way you would have handled it?
No, the USDA has been a complete failure on the way they've handled the screwworm issue. They're solely relying on sterile flies, which really don't work that well. And I'll put this in proportion. We have about 2,000 active cases in Mexico and Texas right now. That's the most we've ever had. The outbreak occurred in November of 2024. We immediately started releasing 100 million sterile flies, and that's 19 months. We've been releasing 400 million a month, 19 months. That's over 2 billion sterile flies. Yet we have more cases today than we've ever had. It marched from southern Mexico 1,100 miles right into Texas and New Mexico. So that's doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. That is the definition of insanity. There's proven science. It was USDA science. They proved it up. They developed a bait in the 70s and 80s, killed 80 to 95% of the screwworm flies. They will not deploy it. The insecticide is very safe. It's been around 50 years. It's still available today in over 80 products. The formula for the bait, I have it. I have the scientific research papers. The lure is much improved from what it was then, but they refuse to use it. They simply want to build this $1 billion fly factory and rely on those flies, which, it's just, they don't work very well. Number one, they say they release sterile flies, but what they do is they release a pupa and they hatch and they're half male and half female. Well, the males just mate with the sterile females. They don't go out and find a fertile female. And the reason it theoretically would work is a screwworm fly mates one time. So when they mate one time, they die. The other reason it doesn't work very well, to sterilize them, they give them high doses of radiation. We've known friends or family that's been through chemo and radiation, and it just leaves you in a pretty much weakened state. You're not very horny. I mean, you're just not.
Yeah.
You're not going to go out and look for very hard for a mate. And so they're just not very active. Matter of fact, they're about 80% the size. Since they irradiate them in the pupa stage, they don't even reach maturity. They're about 80% of their normal size. So it just doesn't work very good. When you have to have 100 million to go after a week, 100 million a week to go after 2,000 cases. And it's not enough. They say we need somewhere between 500 and 700 million a week to stop those 2,000 cases. So it's not a very efficient program.
Do you feel like they're listening to you, the USDA?
No, they've quit listening to me. They quit corresponding with me. I put this information physically in the hand of Brooke Rawlings 3 times. And she's adamant that they're not going to use anything but sterile flies. They're locked in. But I did hold a summit last week with my Mexican counterparts, my counterparts in New Mexico. We met at Santa Teresa, New Mexico, their import facility there. Very good meeting. They now have this information on making the fly bait. So hopefully Mexico has 0 tools now. I mean, the sterile flies are coming to Texas, so they've got no defense whatsoever. So they were elated to find out that maybe they could make the fly bait and put it out themselves. But we did appeal, and we all signed an agreement asking the USDA to go ahead and open the border in Sonora and Coahuila. Those are desert regions. They've never had a case of screwworms there ever. And I do commend Rawlins for planning to open the port in Arizona, in Douglas. After that one opens, the plan is to open in Columbus and Santa Teresa, New Mexico. No mention of it opening in Texas, but those regions just don't have screwworm, so there's no reason, not to open those. We'll get some roping cattle in here finally.
Paying $1,500 to $2,000 for a roping steer, it's tough. So
well, they've got it. We get normally we'd get about 15,000 head out of that desert region of Coahuila and Sonora. Those cattle are still there, except the numbers are about 30,000. So when those start crossing, we should be able to get back into some good quality rodeo stock.
Gotcha. So are you done with your list as governor?
Probably we could go on all day, but there's a lot of things that need to be done.
I'm going to ask another question. I just discussed it pretty extensively with a friend of mine that's running for Senate in Massachusetts. And ironically enough, I'm going to go ahead and drop this name, Chris Brugard. He lives east of Dallas somewhere. I do know, was a Hollywood stunt actor at one time, okay, but now he's a rancher and movie producer, and can't even think of the movie right now, but it's Don't Mess With My Texas or something like that. The movie is basically about radical Islam moving into the state of Texas. And at some point, I'd like to introduce but I, wrote into law making Sharia law illegal. Didn't that happen in the last recent times?
Well, he did, but it didn't really stop it. There was workarounds. It was more a wink and a nod to Abbott's supporters. Some of his largest contributors are Muslims. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's sad state that we let that go on in our state.
Right.
That's another thing that I would immediately stop. I wouldn't put up with that myself.
Yeah. So, I'd like to mention, running a technology hedge fund and having a pretty big concentration. I probably have business associates, acquaintances, friends in 50 or 60 different countries. And
I'll bet.
I have zero, prejudice in my body, raised the right way, but I'm not interested in my granddaughters being forced someday to wear a burqa. And so anyway, well, Sid, when's your next rodeo?
Well, I just went to the Texas Cowboy reunion in Stanford over the 4th of July, 1/3 out there. And then I went on the 9th, I went to the National Appaloosa show. It was in Waco this year. Took a young filly down there, a 5-year-old filly that I raised out of my quarter horse stallion. And we won 2 national championships. So probably there's a big show here in Fort Worth coming up in about 30 days. I think I'll probably go up to the American Quarter Horse Congress in Columbus, Ohio this fall. And I may start going to a few jackpots. I haven't been to any jackpots in several years. So I might crawl back out, and I've got a really good horse that fits me good. And so I might try that.
Well, if you get some of your time back, are you ever going to show up at the Ultimate Calf Ropings?
Well, I'm thinking about going to those, actually. It'll probably after the first of the year. When I'm out of office, I'm just too busy right now, but certainly it's on the list.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Fort Worth probably a week or two for several months, if not 2 or 3 years, getting our services more established in these offices. We've been there a while, but it's going to be a bigger deal. And I'm going to have staff from Kansas and other states come in to help get that set up and established. And I hope to keep a horse down there. This last stint that I was down there was one in Hamilton, and that barn's not air conditioned. And it was one of those really hot days. And and then I ended up coming home to rope with my kids, but the week that I was there was one in Hamilton. The very next weekend, one in Stephenville, right there.
Oh yeah.
And so this time of year, I can enter a rodeo every night in Kansas, preferably team roping. I don't like to calf rope at most of these rodeos. However, down there you're just a few miles away. But once in a while they have something up at the Lazy E. But other than that, my closest place I can calf rope in those ultimates is to load my horses up in Salina, Kansas, and drive to Decatur, Texas.
There you go.
But that's that one's
a lot
close.
Of good ropings there.
It's only 5 hours. Yeah. But yeah,
All right, so
need
good.
to keep a couple horses down there. So, well, you need to go, and I need to go too. So, thank you for joining me this afternoon.
Anytime, my friend. I've really enjoyed it. It was good to catch up. All right. God bless.